Hi everyone and welcome to Season 3, Episode 5 of Reputation Rebuild at Aberdeen with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. This is my series where I spend 3 seasons at Aberdeen trying to get them back to the top of Scottish Premier League football. Have I managed it? Well, to be honest, no, I probably haven't. I'm about 18 points behind Rangers at the top of the table with a game in hand over them. Still got to play them 3 times this season, plus Celtic, and it's the Celtic match that we have today. Can we reel them in a little bit? Let's find out. Welcome back to Aberdeen, everybody. Sitting in the first week or two of February of our 3rd season. So this is the last season and we are in 3rd position, which is great in itself. And I think that we're going to basically sustain that through to the rest of the season because we've already got a 4-point advantage and 2 games in hand over Dundee United and Dunfermline behind us, even further back to Dunfermline. So I think 3rd place is pretty much ours for the taking. The problem is I don't think that we can get to either 2nd or 1st. Celtic and Rangers, again, ultra dominant, really very hard to get points off of. They only kind of break each other down here and there, and that's about it. And so we have not been able to reel them in. As I said in the intro, we've got a 18-point gap between us and Rangers at the top of the table. Now, we do have a game in hand over them, but the game in hand potentially is today against Celtic. So that's not going to be easy. We are at home today, though, against Celtic, who sit in 2nd position. They're 3 points behind Rangers themselves. So ultimately, we've done pretty well. Overall, I think we've pushed this Aberdeen squad as far as we can. The biggest issue that we've got is that we didn't go deep enough into European football and the like to get more money from those kind of competitions and to improve the state of our squad in transfer windows. That's basically it. If we could have improved the finances of the club, then I think that we maybe would have stood a chance, possibly in 5 seasons, let's say, rather than 3. But if somebody else wants to go and give that a go themselves, let me know how you get on, taking Aberdeen on and seeing if you can get above both Rangers and Celtic and tell me how long it actually took you to do. But I'm pretty happy with the progress that we've made with the club overall. It's just not going to fulfill the challenge that we set out for ourselves in the first instance. So just before we focus on today's game, there is 2 things to talk about. One is the transfers, because we've just come out of a transfer window and I have a very simple thought of we didn't make any transfers. Nothing happened at all. Nobody went in, nobody went out. And so that's fine. So before we focus on the game today, let's do the other of those 2 things and just check in with the recent form. So you can see that form has been pretty good. We did go on a little bit of a dip after the loss against Rangers in the Betfred Cup final in the last episode. We then lost, unfortunately, to Dundee United and got a draw against Hibs. So that took a little bit of the impetus away. We then got back on track, though. 4 wins in a row, including 1 in the Scottish Cup, which puts us through to the quarter-finals coming up against Dunfermline. What I'm now really hoping above everything else in this particular series is that come end of the series, in a few episodes' time, we might have a cup competition final to be part of. We're still in the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup. We're into the 2nd knockout round of the Euro Cup, the Europa League in this particular version. We haven't been drawn against an opponent yet, but that's coming up soon. So ultimately, there might be a final on the horizon, and maybe that will be a fitting end to this particular series. But for now, we're focusing on the league. So the recent form has been good. Celtic are going to be very hard, but let's see if we can put in a good show. So we do have a couple of injuries today. Demir is out of the squad. He's got a little bit of a knock, so we're not taking any risks with him. He would only basically be on the bench anyway. And also Liam Delap, one of our real absolute shining superstars from this particular season. 12 goals in 11 starts. He's injured and has been for quite a little while now, but he's only got about 5 days left before he returns to training. So hopefully it won't be too long before he's back into the starting lineup again. Nisbet is doing pretty well, though, in covering that position for us. 15 in 19 games for him. So ultimately, that opportunity to rotate in that striker position has been a real benefit to us this season. So those two are injured. We've also got Johnston, who is our left-sided wing option off the bench normally, but he's ineligible today because he's a Celtic player on loan to us, so he can't play against his parent club. So other than that, everybody else is pretty much able to play, although we do have a couple of fitness issues. One specifically in Harvey Elliott for a thought, and also Heise and Gruick, both a little below par, and after this particular match, they will all probably get rested. So that's the thought. One last effort, though, here for this slightly jaded group of players, just to see if we can get anything from Celtic today. So for the Celtic match, we've gone with Lewis in goal, Hernandez at right back, Heise at left back, Kerr and Finlay in central defence, Gruick, McCrory and Bate in central midfield, Elliott on the right, Middleton on the left, and Nisbet up top, with a bench of Lawnwick, Ramsey, Ferguson, Campbell, McLennan, Kennedy and Shankland. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So because recent form has been so good, I've put my hands in my pockets, tried to keep a very calm demeanour, and I've told the players, get out there and carry straight on from where you left off in the last match. Just see if we can keep that momentum moving forward a little bit. But ultimately, this is one of those absolutely huge roadblocks, easy for me to say, in our way in the Scottish Premiership in Celtic. And so we are going to absolutely be up against it. But a home match against them, hopefully that gives us a little bit of a helping hand as well. But it is Celtic on that far side with an early chance, and they do get a cross in. But we do pretty well in coping with it the first time round, but unfortunately they pick up the loose ball and come right back at us again, working more centrally at the moment, through ball, and fortunately for us, Lewis gets down well, covers his near post and claims the ball with no problem. But early stages, 14 minutes in, 2 shots for them, 2 on target and 0 for us at the moment. Percentage of possession hasn't been bad though, so we're still in the game, working our possession stats pretty well. It's just about finding a way to break down this Celtic side, who are in the 4-2-3-1 formation, and trying to get a few shots at goal. And so far, we haven't really managed it enough to warrant a highlight. Anyway, we have got a couple of shots now, but they were both pretty wayward, it seems. And Elliott is really, really struggling, and I can't take any risks with him at all because we're going to need him for the rest of this season. So if we go and look, you see, ultimately already his conditioning has gone so far down, we are going to take him out. So McLennan comes in down that right-hand side, and he'll just have to see out the game for us. It's unfortunate. Harvey Elliott is a very, very good winger for us, but with so many more games still to play, including those 2 cup runs, of course, we do need him for those matches. So it would be silly to just push him too far. So in the end, our statistics for the half weren't too bad, off a couple of highlights to watch, but not really much more than that, was it? It was a little bit of a dire first half to watch. 4 shots at goal, none on target though, 5 and 3 for them, but nobody's got that goal and breakthrough yet. The possession stats are okay, so we're doing all right, just a little bit of quality in front of goal, and then maybe we could do better than all right. So let's now continue in the vein that we started. Very chilled out, not trying to put the pressure on. Let's see what we can come up with here. I think we're going to do unlucky boys, things that just haven't gone right for us so far, but very chilled out, hands in the pockets again, very calm. We're going to go in with a shout and demand more from them for the first period of the second half, and just see if we can get something from them in the early stages here. But it's looks still like it's not really happening for us in terms of creating chances. And then we give it away on a throw-in very cheaply, but we fortunately win it back in our defensive area, and then we give it away again. And that's our problem. We're trying to win the ball very well. We're getting foot in occasionally, pushing them and putting them under pressure. But at this point now, we have to finally find a way to keep hold of the ball and progress up the field. On this occasion, we're still not doing it. Just as I was going to say, we're doing it, we're going to work an opportunity. We don't. We lose possession and regain it again. Nobody wants this ball. Now they do. And watch them go. Real one pass through on goal. Arezzo. And they go one up. That was just ridiculous, wasn't it? We spent so long chasing them and putting a foot in to win the ball. We won it about 4 times in that period of play, and then immediately gave it straight back to them. And eventually, they're much more dynamic and much more clinical than we are. One pass over the top, an on-running striker, Arezzo, puts it into the back of the net, and Celtic go 1-0 up. And we are again left a little bit disappointed by our inability to basically string passes together and actually have a worthwhile shot at goal. 66 minutes in, we've had 4 shots at goal and none on target. And that's just unfortunate. And now we're playing around with the ball at the back. And if we lose it there, we're in trouble. We fortunately at that point don't. Middleton cuts in off the left-hand side, gets all the way to the top of the box, then has a long shot. But it's a fairly simple one for the goalkeeper to watch all the way and take out the air. And at 70 minutes, it's time for us to make a few changes personnel-wise, just to freshen things up again. You can see that we've got a lot of very, very tired players now, and we will have to rest some of these over the coming weeks. But I just wanted one more performance out of them against the mighty Celtic. And to be honest, I'm not sure we've really achieved it today, particularly. I think it's been a little bit limp, to be honest. But there we go. That's just one of those things. So we're going to be able to make one more change, and we're going to bring Ferguson on for McCrory, all in central midfield. See if we can get that central midfield engine room going again. Bate and McCrory come out. Ferguson and Campbell go in. That's the changes that we're going to make. We're going to go into the shouts and fire them up. And then we're going to go into the attacking mentality because we've got nothing to lose at this point. Just under 15 minutes plus a little bit of injury time to come. And we are still 1-0 down. So give ourselves one chance in front of goal. And hopefully Nisbet will be able to put it in the back of the net. But we've got to give him the chance. And again, we lose possession. And we almost gain it back again. But straight away, we offer it back to Celtic. It's that still is the age-old problem for us of keeping the ball and keeping it away from them. And we haven't managed that well enough today. Again, Celtic on the ball, working it very nicely. They're very dynamic. They do work a fairly long, direct style at times, but it's always with a purpose, always into very good areas. And again, they carved out an opportunity for themselves and didn't quite manage to take it. Header went over the top of the bar. It looks like we're going to come up short again at 90 minutes, sitting at 1-0 down, a couple of minutes of added time that we're now most of the way through. It was an all right performance. It wasn't terrible, but in the circumstances, it just wasn't dynamic enough, and it wasn't controlled enough in our possession. We had 50% of the possession, and we did very, very little with it, really. An XG rating of 0.3, 5 shots at goal in the end, only 1 on target, and it wasn't good enough. And therefore, again, we lose to one of the big two. Oh, they're tricky. So I think with a couple of episodes left to go in this entire series now, we've got another sort of dozen games to play, plus a few added on as the league splits. So we've got probably 2 or 3 episodes to come, but I think I'm going to make the executive decision now that we're going to actually take away the focus of the Scottish Premiership, because ultimately we cannot beat Rangers and Celtic. We just can't do it. We're not good enough for that. But we're going to transition over and see if we can get on one of these cup runs. So we're going to come back for the knockout game in the Euro Cup in the next episode. And if we get through the quarter-final stage against Dunfermline in the Scottish Cup and maybe get to the final there, maybe there's just an opportunity to redeem ourselves a little bit at the end of the season with some silverware. So that's now what we're going to be focusing on. So come back next episode and we'll find out together who that opponent is going to be in the Euro Cup second knockout round, We'll also update you on everything that's happening in the Scottish Premiership and that cup game against Dunfermline. And moving forward, I think it's probably best for this series that we focus on that cup run instead. And just as I say, see if we can get to the end of the season with a potential bit of silverware in the trophy cabinet. So join me next episode for that. Thank you for joining me for this one. Sorry about the little bit of a break that there was at the back end of last week for this particular series. My next door neighbour was doing some renovation work. Sorry for the fact that we can't find a way to get past Celtic and Rangers, but hopefully we can still end on some form of positive for this series. So thank you for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by lots more people. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.